summer games. My name is Miss Amanda, and this is Miss Kaylea.
Hey guys.
This year we are doing summer games virtually to keep everybody safe, but we have new lessons once a week on Wednesdays, so we're so glad you're here. This year we are basing the summer games off of a new coloring book that's coming out this fall, but we need your help. The cover is a drawing of the museum. And we have this one that's already beautifully colored by one of our friends. But we want you to come in and pick up your own copy, or you can go online and we have it on the website, and color it and print it off, or take a picture and send it to me at aburkhart@watkinsmuseum.org. Now, each week we base it on one of the new pages from the coloring book. Each one a letter of the name Watkins, after us. So we are now at N week for Nana Naismith. Who is James Naismith? James Naismith is known as the father of basketball. And basketball, unlike a lot of other sports, it has a very clear history. We know when it was invented, we know when it was started, and we know how it grew, which is something that's really interesting, I think. As historians, we love that. So, James Naismith in 1891 was actually living in Massachusetts, and it was very cold, and he wanted to create a sport for the kids to play inside. So he figured out that he needed to play something that was a little less rough than something like, what? Like
football.
Yeah, yes. So he invented basketball, which was something that you had to be a little more nimble, and it was a little less about strength and running into each other, and a little less dangerous to play inside. But basketball of the old days was different when it was first invented. It looked very, very different. So here are some pictures of what basketball looked like years and years ago. Now, what's that up there? That is a basket, right? Basketball. But as the years went on, we created a backboard and different things to make it a little easier to play. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. First, let's look at some touch objects that we have that are the originals. Now, these are touch objects. They are not artifacts, so we can touch them with our hands. Now, the original basket was a peach basket. And this ball looks very different than a basketball we would have today. Plus, what's the difference?
There's no hole in the bottom.
There's just this little hole. So this is 10 feet up in the air, and they'd have to take a stick to push the ball out. That's pretty silly.
Yeah.
But we don't play like that anymore. James Naismith came to KU when basketball was started at KU University, because who would you want to coach your basketball team other than
Naismith, of course.
the man who invented it? So we have his desk. Now, I love this artifact. You can come see it in person, but there's something secret that I want to show you. Now we have to put on our white gloves because we don't want to touch our artifacts. They are special. They're not like our touch objects that are recreations. These are the original artifacts, and our hands have oil and dirt. So inside there's a secret. What do you see here, Miss Kaylea?
There are numbers of some sort.
What do you think they are?
Maybe birth dates?
Nope.
3 numbers. Maybe like game scores?
No. This is actually where locker combinations were written so that they didn't forget their locker combinations.
That's so cool.
Isn't that silly? But there's a lot more basketball history, and I really like Naismith, but I also like games. So let's make a game that we could play that is kind of like basketball, but it's also kind of like an old game that you would play when you were a little kid. For this cup and ball basketball craft, you will need yarn, masking tape, a popsicle stick, a foam ball, scissors, a pencil, a paper cup or any cup you can find, and some markers. First, let's decorate our net. Just draw lines crisscross to make it look just like a basketball net today. You might even decorate it like a peach basket too, but that would be the older version. Now we want to attach our stick to the cup. So just poke a small hole with your pencil and use that to put your popsicle stick. Once you do this, you're going to want to secure it with masking tape. There's no specific way to do this, just as best you can, creating more of a sturdy connection. Once you have your popsicle stick attached, you're going to need your string. So tie that string around, and if you need help tying, just ask your grown-up. And then you're going to add even more tape to make sure that stays nice and secure. Now, take your ball and tape your string to your ball. You're going to be a master at taping at the end of this craft. Once it's fully wrapped in tape, you can decorate it however you want. Ours, of course, is a basketball. See? Cup and ball is a game that kids have played, even from the time that Lawrence was founded. Now we can just turn it into a basketball game.
Well, I want to talk more about the history of basketball.
Okay.
So, one of the other cool people from the history of basketball was Forrest Fogg Allen. So his nickname was Fogg. His friends called him that. He was the successor, or the guy after Naismith. He is known as the father of basketball coaching. Remember, Naismith was the father of basketball. So he's the father of basketball coaching. So Fogg Allen was one of the most famous coaches in KU history for basketball. In his time, he coached not only KU's team, but also Baker University and Haskell Indian Nations University that are both kind of in the Lawrence area as well.
All at the same time?
Yes.
That's a lot of work.
I know, right? That's why he was so amazing. So his record for his total career was 74 wins and only 10 losses, which is super amazing for a basketball coach to have.
What time period did he work in? Do you remember?
I think he was working in like the 1940s, so he was right after Naismith, remember? So Naismith retired in 1937, so he took over right after Naismith and took our KU Jayhawks to a whole new level.
Awesome. I know another game we can play that you might have played in the 40s. Can we make that?
Okay.
For this craft, you will need cardstock or some harder paper, buttons, markers, we have these beautiful Sharpies, something to guide you in drawing a circle, scissors, and string or yarn. First, find something to trace to make a circle. You can try and do it on your own, but it's just as easy to find something that'll make it nice and even. Now, you will color this with whatever colors you want. We're going to use our KU colors because we're celebrating Naismith and KU basketball today. Once you've colored one side of your circle, cut it out carefully around the edge. You want to color both sides. And once you finish with that, you're ready to put your button spinner together. Now you want to take your spinner and you want to poke two little holes. And you want to line those with your buttons because we're going to string it all together. Now, to get that through the buttons, you're going to want to put a little tip onto your yarn, like a shoelace tip. String your button on each side, and then you're going to go back through to create a big loop. Pull it so it's even on each side, and then tie the end. Perfect. See, so this is our button spinner. This is a toy that might have been played with when Fog Allen was at KU, and it's very simple and easy to make. But it's also been used by many cultures over the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. They've even found them in indigenous sites in archaeological digs
Really?
for indigenous people. So this is a fun toy that people have been playing with for a long, long time. So we made ours KU colors for you.
Thank you.
And now we're just gonna spin, 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 spin. And then those colors mix together to make purple.
Not K-State. But I want to get back to the history of basketball because it's so interesting and so much a part of Florence. So right here we have in the Watkins Museum a jersey that belonged to a very famous female basketball player at KU. Her name was Adrienne Mitchell. She was an African-American women's player during the 1970s. And what's really awesome about her is that in her career, she had over 2,000 points that she scored. But what's even more impressive is that she had 1,000 rebounds. Now, a rebound is when the team shoots a basket, they miss, and then you can go get the ball and give it back to your team for another chance to score.
Oh, cool.
So she did that 1,000 times in the time that she played at KU. So because she was so amazing, they ended up retiring her jersey number. And that means that no other player at KU in the women's basketball team can wear the number 21 because she was so amazing.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Miss Kaylea. She's very smart about basketball history. I'm so glad she's here. Have a wonderful week. We hope you enjoyed today's history of basketball, and go color your coloring sheet. We are so excited you were here with us today, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.